Hey, welcome to one of the fastest growing sports YouTube channels out there, Gold and Blue Dude. And this past college football weekend was one of the craziest college football weekends we've seen in a very long time. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Gold and Blue Dude. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. Week 1 of this year's college football season was pretty interesting. Week 2, even though there wasn't as many marquee matchups, it was crazier and more interesting, I gotta admit it. Of course, the big news over the weekend was number 12 Oregon going into Columbus and upsetting number 3 Ohio State. They were a 14.5-point favorite. Oregon prevails 35-28. Neither team's defense looked great. Ohio State's defense looked especially bad. Oregon ran the ball at will on Ohio State. Ohio State had more offensive yards by far, so their offense isn't the problem. It's their defense. Buckeye fans, your defense is horrendous. Y'all need to fix it ASAP or it's going to be a very long season. Oregon, you look great. This was a big win, but there's still some issues that you guys need to fix as well. That secondary and your passing game. If that doesn't improve, you could pick up a loss that you didn't see coming. The other big game, and I predicted this upset, number 10 Iowa goes into Ames, Iowa, and beats number 9 Iowa State as a 4.5-point underdog, 27-17. If you watched this game, you saw that Iowa was in control of the entire game. There was no question who was going to win this game. Now, I told you before this game happened, Iowa is not scared of Ames, Iowa. They are one of the very few teams that know how to go in there and beat Iowa State, and that's exactly what they did. Notre Dame's struggles continue. Even though they're number 8 in the nation, they were taking on Toledo at home as a 17-point favorite, and they barely survived. At one point, Toledo had a lead in the fourth quarter, but Notre Dame does prevail, and they beat Toledo 32-29. But what's going on in South Bend, Indiana? Notre Dame looks like a train wreck right now. Another favorite that barely escaped, number 5 Texas A&M. They go on the road and get the victory over Colorado 10-7 as a 17-point favorite. Looked terrible. Their quarterback looked rattled. If he doesn't settle down, those SEC stadiums are going to eat him alive. But Texas A&M lives to see another day. Other games worth mentioning. Kentucky beat Missouri 35-28. Why is this important? Because I predicted Kentucky to be the second best team in the SEC East. This was a big game for them. And they also get Florida at home this year, and I think they beat Florida. They're not going to beat Georgia on the road, but Kentucky will finish second in the SEC East. And they beat Missouri yesterday 35-28, so that's a big step towards that goal. What about FCS Duquesne going into Ohio and beating the Bobcats 28-26? FCS teams upsetting other teams left and right. Every time you turn around, boom, another FCS team has beaten an FBS team. Speaking of which, Jacksonville State on a very, very crazy last play. If you haven't watched it, you need to Google it. They upset Florida State on the road 20-17, and it's because of a crazy sequence of events at the end of this game. They had no business winning that game. Number 1, they're an FCS team, and Florida State's supposed to be a powerhouse. Well, rebuilding powerhouse right now. And Florida State looked pretty good against Notre Dame. Nope, the rebuild is still on at Florida State, and they lose to FCS Jacksonville State at home 20-17. Google the ending to this game. It is crazy. Oh, by the way, Vanderbilt won. Yes, they go on the road and beat Colorado State 24-21. I thought that was worth mentioning. Then the favorites that didn't survive against non-ranked teams. First up, number 21 Utah loses the Holy War to BYU 26-17. They were a 17-point favorite, and they won't get to play them again for another 4 years. That's going to sting. And they were going into this game on a 9-game winning streak in this rivalry. Yikes. Good old Texas. Number 15 Texas getting a taste of the SEC. They go on the road to Arkansas and drop an egg. They get blasted 40-21, and it wasn't even that close. They were a 7-point favorite. Arkansas, not even one of the best SEC teams, and they still smack Texas around. Throwing the horns down at the end of the game. I love it. Back to the drawing board, Texas. You are not back. Then another big upset, which I actually called. Stanford over number 14 USC. USC was a 17-point favorite. Stanford looked like a completely different team than what they did against Kansas State, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. They go into the LA Coliseum and stomp the Trojans 42-28. For whatever reason, I just had this feeling that that upset was going to happen, and it did. Here are the repercussions for the crazy week. Well, first off, Texas, not only are you not back, you're not ranked anymore. So the reward for you going on the road and getting smacked by Arkansas is going from 15 to non-ranked. Same thing for number 14 USC, but it's even worse for them because they lost to a so-so team Stanford at home. Not ranked anymore, Trojans. And finally, a rivalry loss cost number 21 Utah their ranking. They're not ranked anymore because they went on the road and lost to BYU. The new AP Top 25 is out. Alabama and Georgia remain number 1 and number 2. Oklahoma jumps 1 spot to number 3, even though they've looked terrible. Oregon jumps 8 spots to number 4. That was a big win on the road against Ohio State. They get rewarded. Number 5 is Iowa. They jump 5 spots after they go on the road and beat a top 10 Iowa State. Clemson stays the same at number 6. Texas A&M falls 2 spots. Even though they beat Colorado, they didn't look very well at all. Number 8, Cincinnati. They fall 1 spot. Number 9, that's where Ohio State falls. Personally, I think they should have fell farther. That defense looked like trash, and they lost at home. They had no business doing that. But as is, they're number 9. Number 10, Penn State. They jump up 1 spot. It could be another top 10 battle in Columbus here in a few weeks. Number 11, Florida. They jump 2 spots. Florida has done nothing to jump. I know they won, but they've looked bad. Number 12, Notre Dame. They fall 4 spots after barely beating Toledo. Good job, AP poll. I'm glad you actually punished Notre Dame for looking bad. Number 13, UCLA. They jump 3 spots. Man, I did not see UCLA coming. Keep it going, Bruins. Number 14, this is where Iowa State falls. They fall 5 spots after losing a home game to Iowa. Number 15, Virginia Tech. They jump 4 spots, and next week they're coming to Morgantown, and we're going to slap them, and we're going to knock them out of the polls. Number 16, Coastal Carolina. They keep churning. They jump 1 spot. Number 17, Ole Miss. They jump 3 spots. 18, Wisconsin. They stay the same. Number 19, Arizona State. They jump 4 spots. They could get into the top 15 next week. They rewarded Arkansas by giving them the number 20 ranking. I agree with that. Good job, Razorbacks. You are ranked. Number 21, North Carolina. They jumped them 3 spots for whatever reason. Number 22, Auburn. They jumped 3 spots. Now, Auburn, they do deserve it. Number 23, BYU. I get it. They beat a ranked Utah at home in a rivalry, but you might be getting the hopes of Cougar fans up just a little bit. I would hold off on the top 25 ranking. Number 24, Miami. Even though they won, they barely won. They fall 2 spots. I'm okay with that. Finally, number 25, Michigan gets ranked. The Big Ten might be loaded this year, and that game at the end of the year between Ohio State and Michigan might actually mean something this year. You never know. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.